Hello, I'm Matt NF, and this is Dark Carnival Map 4, The Barns. And yeah, this is a little series where I analyze the level in Left 4 Dead, one level per video. And this is Map 4, and let's jump right in. So yeah, here we have a cool little area. There's a Dixieland diner. I always wish we got to go inside, but unfortunately we do not. So I mentioned in a previous video that a Valve developer once told me that you cannot, it used to, so right now this is a safe room. The safe room used to be out here somewhere. I don't know where, but he said the map used to be longer and they cut it shorter. So there's two theories about that. One is, I heard from my friend Cuba, who's a Left 4 Dead modder. He had a theory that maybe the safe room was here, like in this structure, which certainly could have been the case. That would have made sense. Like you had to come out here, or you ran this way, and then this map would have began looking at the bumper car building.
Keep going through the bumper
I had a
cars.
theory that the safe room would actually be in this room, the back of the bumper car building, and then you'd begin map 4 right here.
We need to signal the helicopter.
Yeah, and I think that, you know, it's interesting that the map got cut so much, but it also makes sense because this would have been a huge slog if you had to go through the whole coaster and then get here and do all this shit too. So a good call from Valve. Maybe we'll find out one day where the safe room really was.
These are not games
so
of
anyway,
chance.
going through here, this is a dynamic path, one of the rare dynamic paths in Left 4 Dead 2. Not a whole lot of them. Sometimes this is blocked off. It only gets blocked off if you play too well. So I think the criteria for a dynamic path is that if your health is too high, and I have 98 health right now, then it spawns the harder path for you, which is this way. Same thing in a few other maps, Parish 1, Dead Center 3, and many others. So we have the Mustachio here. You can swing it. And if you use an adrenaline shot, you get to activate it. And it spawns a Horb, and you get an achievement. And there's another little Easter egg, and in Versus mode, the tank can punch this and instantly break it and trigger a Horb, which I think is pretty cool. One thing I wish that Valve did more was lean more into this little peanut-like guy theme. Like, I wish that like their rides, like the coaster was like peanut themed. Like, you know, at Disneyland, you know, you go to Disneyland and every area has its own little theme. Like, there's the Cars Land, and when you go on the ride, it's like Cars themed. And like, but I feel like Valve kind of dropped the ball on that. They have like these bits and pieces of what this theme park theme was, but they don't really do too much with it, which I think is a little disappointing. But yeah, I guess it's just a result of the quick development time the game went through. Like, you know, they could have had a little peanut guy plushie instead of an elephant. You know what I mean? Little stuff like that. But alas, maybe in Left 4 Dead 3. There's a cool little detail back here. You can see a zipper ride. You sometimes see these in carnivals. You ride in these little cages and they like spins around and it like twists and turns. They're a fucking nightmare actually, and it's not. I actually don't find them fun at all. Yeah, I like coasters, but I do not like these because you're like trapped in a cage and like spinning around to your death, and it's like, no thanks. Anyway, little Easter egg: you can actually open up these porta potties. Not many maps you can do that. They're just regular porta potties. Let's see here. There's a cool thing here where if you see this wall mural, this is actually a texture from Left 4 Dead 1. You can't see it here, but there's above this part, it says like Riverside County Fair or something Riverside. Again, it gets cut off in this map, but this is a Left 4 Dead 1 texture that they reused, and that's a good thing from a design perspective. Reusing stuff wherever possible, and like no one is none the wiser. Like we look at this, we think it's cool, and you move on, and you know it's copy pasted from Left 4 Dead 1, and no one gives a shit. So, good call from the artist there to save themselves some art time and having them make a whole new thing just for this area. Bumper cars are hittable, which is also a cool detail. So another thing from a optimization perspective, the way these two buildings kind of partition this area into being its own space. So there's like this whole space, and then this whole space. And again, in Source Engine, you want to block sight lines as much as possible to prevent too much from being rendered, and that's exactly what's happening right here. You cannot see back there at all. You have this huge crate here, that building, even these bushes. These bushes don't occlude, but you know, it's just having those sightline blockers to keep the frame rate running well.
I can hear something going on in the stadium.
So there's also something really interesting here. In the editor, these two bushes right here have a nav blocker on them that's apparently only blocked in co-op mode. Basically some leftover stuff that doesn't get used in any map that I know of. And I have a theory that at one point in development, these two bushes here got removed and you can just cross right through here. But for whatever reason, they wound up cutting that. But there's some stuff left over in the editor there. So here's an infamous mistake that Valve has made, and I'm very upset at this mistake. You see this blank wall here? This used to have a logo that said the Peach Pit on it, a big Peach Pit logo, but Valve fucked up, and it does not render in the game, and it has existed there in the map files since day one. But no one has ever seen it because Valve made a mistake. But I think that the community update team might be fixing it, or might have already fixed it. I was told it was already fixed, but I don't see it here, so I'm not sure what happened. But yeah, this actually has a name to it, this stadium. It's called the Peach Pit, but you'll never know that because it doesn't render. Unlucky. I think you do see the logo in map 5 at least, so you know what it looks like. You just haven't seen it. You just haven't seen it here. Let's see. So I was always very annoyed at this fence from a level design point of view. I remember when I played this, when it came out in 2009, and getting mad at this. Because it looks like you can jump over this. You can stand on that ledge, jump on that, and get in there. But you can't, but it looks like you can, and that always pissed me off. It's my little pet peeve. I wish they, like, I don't know, made this taller, make the white thing taller. I don't know. I wish they just did something else. But yeah, I was like, oh, I can jump over that, and you actually can't. So yeah. But here's another cool anticipation tease thing where now we finally get to see the stadium, but you can't go into it yet. You can't even go to the outskirts of it yet. But it's a cool little moment because you get that tease and you get that anticipation and that intrigue. You can kind of look into it a little bit. You see some glimpses of some stuff up there and you get that intrigue feeling. A very cool view here of a Ferris wheel too, but I'm almost kind of disappointed in this Ferris wheel though, because I wish we could have gone to it in this campaign. And sorry to bring up Dark Carnival Remix again, but you get to go to it in Dark Carnival Remix. Excuse me. Yeah, so in Dark Carnival Remix you get to go to the Ferris wheel, but not in this one, and I wish this is too much of a tease. Unfortunately. Anyway, we have this little whack-a-mole game here. This dance tracker, very cool, very cool. Let's see, so we get to go through the barns here. You get to go on the inside, and then you go back up top.
Through these pens.
Detail here of the dead cows.
Through this door.
I wonder what that story that they were trying to tell what this is. Like, maybe the cows starved to death, or maybe they were shot by people for some reason. Like, maybe they thought cows can be infected. I don't think that's ever actually answered in the Left 4 Dead universe. Can animals be infected? Because I don't think you ever actually see animals other than birds.
Across the rooftops.
Is that a thing? We'll never know. Maybe in Left 4 Dead 3.
Molotov.
Let's see here. I was always not a fan of what the level makes you do here. It makes you do like a 180. And I don't like 180s as a level designer because they always feel very awkward to me. I don't know. I feel like they could have made this
Careful on these roofs.
better. But again, we do have our yellow blocks here, and as we've established, yellow means good, and you tend to follow yellow. Although I have seen a few times a player go down this area. So I'm surprised I didn't block this off and then put like a way climbing over it, because you can actually fall into it from here. Oh, I just killed myself, so let's just go back to it. Let me turn on God mode real quick, my bad. Let's just go back there. We open up the door.
Keep
Oops.
going through the bumper
Anyway.
cars. Across
Continue
the
where we left
rooftops.
off. Yeah, I wish I did something else with this. Like maybe, how would I do this? Maybe you at least come out a little bit further over here. Like not this. I wouldn't have this little nook here. I would continue the rooftop to the edge, and then maybe you come out here, and then you go to this. That way, there's a bit more lead up to it. Because right now it's kind of an awkward thing where like there's poles in the way, and it's just kind of annoying. So like if you came out here, and you just make a 90-degree turn, and then you kind of get a lead up to it. I don't know. I feel like there's something else to go done.
Careful on these roofs.
Doesn't really matter. Actually, I might have put like another building here, and then you 90-degree to that building, climb on that building, and then cross over. But I don't know. I'm just spitballing. I wish that in versus mode you could charge people over these and pull people over these, but you cannot. It's too big of a step. But I want to point out these barns and how good they are from like a
Through this building.
just usability. Like the barns take up a pretty significant portion of time when you walk through this area. Like you walk through here
More pens.
and climb up and walk over the top, and it's a good like value, I think, because it's a fun thing to walk up and down. Like it's very unique. And you get like, I imagine this is fairly cheap for them to make. Like it literally just took one section and I copy pasted it. For the most part, it's pretty much the same. And you got a whole lot of gameplay space out of that. So, again, this goes back to the game being made in a year. When you make a game in a year, you gotta cut a little bit of corners and, you know, get shit done quickly. And this is one of the ways they did that, by making one section of a barn, multiplying it by 2, and then making you go over top of it again. So it gets a lot of gameplay time for not a whole lot of work. And it kind of plays into the gamer fantasy of walking on rooftops, because that's not a thing you pretty much ever do in real life unless you're like a roofer. But in games you do it a lot actually, and when you think about it, it's kind of weird, but it's cool because it's walking on rooftops is cool. So I always thought one more thing too. I thought the ladders were a little contrived. I wonder if they put these here because, I don't know, maybe it's too high of a jump or something. I always thought that was kind of strange, but I guess you can sell it as like there was some survivor here and they put ladders up to help them climb over the rooftops or something. One other change I would have made here is I would have pushed these bushes further back if I was designing this, because it looks like right now you could jump over it. Like it's close enough where it's like plausible that you could jump over it. So I would have pushed these bushes back, maybe to like right here, just to open up that a bit more, but nitpicking at this point. Let me think. I also wish that this whole area back here had like fairgrounds instead of a grassy area, because I feel like the barns don't make a whole lot of sense where they're at. Like I feel like there'd be a way to load stuff up from this side, you know, like bringing animals or whatever. But again, you can tell they ran out of time developing this map, because they took this, you can see 2 pieces and then a tree, 2 pieces and then a tree. They took that, copy paste, copy paste, copy paste, copy paste, copy paste, and then copy paste the barn. So you can tell that they're running out of time making this level. So they really slapped that shit together. There's a really interesting Easter egg in this area. Not Easter egg, but I have a theory. So you see the seed stuff here.
Final evacuation is in the stadium.
I feel like it's out of place. Like
Let's get into the stadium.
You know, Nick just said, "Oh, final evacuation in the stadium," but you'd never see anything CETA related in the stadium. So I feel like this whole CETA stuff actually fits out of place, because you don't see it in any other map. Any of the other Dark Knight maps, you don't see it. So it's very strange. I think at one point in development, they had like a CETA like theme overlaid in the carnival theme, and then for whatever reason they cut it. Maybe because Parrish kind of did that too. It does the CETA stuff. But I always thought this was so weird. Like you only see it in this little section. So I have a theory. In the editor, you can notice like somewhere up here in the air, there is a decal that doesn't get rendered. And the decal is an arrow pointing down, and it's approximately like if it were like right now it's in the air, but if it were to be lowered, it would kind of be here-ish. So I have a theory, looking at how short this map is and how there's not a whole lot of stuff. I think at one point in the map, you might have gone back to this area back here, and you maybe even went on a little bit. Like maybe you even came back here. And because there's like this little slope back here even, and you're not able to see this. And then like maybe you went through this building, and then maybe you popped out here, and then maybe you went through this blue building, and then the arrow comes into play, where it says arrow drop down here, and then you drop down, and then you're here, or you drop down from up here. So I'm trying to make sense of why that arrow is there. Why is there an invisible arrow pointing downward? When you never get up to this area or go through this area, and then why is there this weird CETA stuff that you never see ever again? So that's my theory. My theory is that you at one point in development you went back here, and yeah, maybe you even got close to the Ferris wheel before they cut that too. Who knows? We'll never know. Well, maybe I could ask Dario Casale who designed this, but he doesn't work at Valve anymore, so I don't know how to get in contact with him. But anyway, let me think. Oh, speaking of hidden stuff.
Press the button.
There's a hidden room behind this wall. And there's even items that can spawn inside of here. Pills, throwables. And I wonder if at one point in development you could go in here, because there's actually a chunk of this wall, like right there. That's just an individual chunk that would have been deleted and open it up this room. So I wonder at one point in the map you could actually go in there, and I bet the reason that they cut it is because everyone was camping in here, and like all the SI and commons came through one little opening and you just like mowed them down. So probably like, okay, that's too OP, cut it. But then they forgot to delete this room. And this room also doesn't make sense either, because as we'll see in the next map, where this is at is where the restrooms are at in map 5. So it doesn't even make sense to have like this warehouse here anyway. Technically that would be the restrooms. So I think it makes sense why they cut it. Let me think here. So yeah, this little oh, speaking of that logo, the Peach Pit, yeah, so that's what it looks like. And it's supposed to be right here real big, but it's not there. I always thought that this little platform here didn't make a whole lot of sense. Again, there's kind of like weird conflicting themes in this level. This kind of seems like some kind of construction project, like they were building something, or maybe part of the stadium was under construction, but they don't really do too much with that. It's just like a structure that's here. And I wish that there was more that they could have pushed this theme, or maybe it could have done something else with it. I guess why it was put here is it probably wasn't there in the first iteration of the level. You probably just held out on the ground, and then they were probably like, you know what we should do? We should have a thing you can stand on, because standing on stuff and shooting zombies down below is really fun. And it adds more depth to the level as well. So that's probably why they added it, but I wish that it made more sense. Yeah. So
I hit it.
Now, everyone always complains about the difficulty of this event, especially in like expert realism and stuff. It's pretty hard, especially if you don't have a bio bomb. But a little fun fact is that this event didn't used to be this long, or didn't used to be this hard rather. And also, hold on, before I go too further, this gate takes forever to open. I don't know why. This doesn't make any sense. Speaking of things not making sense, Why is this gate going so fucking slow? Anyway, this map didn't used to be so hard. This event used to be so hard. At the end here, when the game launched, all commons spawned behind
Gates
this wall
open!
and ran out. And then some bug happened at some point, and now they spawn in the safe room and come out. Common used to be like blocked by the game from spawning in safe rooms ever. But then something changed in one of the updates, and now all the common coming out of here instead of behind this wall. And that actually makes the event harder because it makes it harder to get in the safe room. So yeah, this map did not used to be as hard as it is. So I don't know if that should ever get fixed. Maybe it's too late at this point. At this point, the game has had it with them here longer than it's been like there. There's this little thing here, which I always thought was cool. Totally pointless. We can even actually get up onto this rooftop, which I think is cool, but totally pointless. I always like that little detail. But also go back to the construction theme being kind of random. So yeah, that's map 4. Let's go into the finale where I have some interesting beta tidbits to drop on you. So yeah, see you in map 5.